Getting from point A to point B, that's the basic of what a car is meant to do. Unfortunately, not every car ever made is reliable enough to even do that. So today, you and me, yes, we are looking at 13 cars that are shockingly unreliable. So buckle up, like, subscribe, and let's go. Hey guys, real quick, I want to thank today's sponsor, Jackery, for sponsoring today's video. And being a full-time YouTuber, you know that I gotta keep all my equipment charged. And I've been using the Jackery 1000 Pro with solar panels for the last couple of years. And this thing takes less than 2 hours to charge completely. It's super easy to carry and use, and has dual-sided solar efficiency, baby. So that means I can charge my phone, drone, and even my laptop on the go. And right now, click the link below and get up to $1,080 off from the 24th to the 28th, and join the $250,000 giveaway campaign from Jackery on the 28th at 2:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time this month. So click the link and supercharge your charging capabilities. Now, back to the show. First up on our list comes from our Bavarian brothers with the BMW E60 M5. Seeing big-bodied super sedans on our list of the most unreliable cars should not be a surprise. But when the E60 M5 debuted, it surprised us because the E60 followed the outstanding, probably best super sedan ever, the E39 M5, which was actually as reliable as a Camry. Many E39s lasted hundreds of thousands of miles without fail. Unfortunately, the same just can't be said about the E60 M5. It's true, we all secretly want one. I mean, it's got a screamin' V10. Pushing out 500 horsepower, which is good for 60 in 4.3 seconds and a $3,000 service bill. What? A $3,000 bill? The S85 powered V10 M5 has a nasty habit of shredding its rod bearings harder than Jimi Hendrix. The $3,000 bill is just to replace the bearings before they go wrong, or left neglected, they will grenade the engine. And then you'd probably be looking at a $10,000 bill or more. Ouch. So, while we all secretly want an E60 M5, it's probably best that we stay far, far, far away from them. Trust me, our wallets will thank us. And if you want more money advice, go ahead and click up here to check out our other channel, Ideal Money, where we get rich together. Now, back to financial burdens that you should stay far, far, far away from. Minis should be avoided at all costs. It is true, the Mini brand makes fun little cars. Perfect for buzzing around town or booming down back roads. Thanks to their small size, Minis don't need a lot of power to get going. It also means its lightweight stature benefits at the pump too. But our favorite part is that their go-kart handling is incredible. So why did Mini land on this list? Well, these new Minis are made by BMW. So that means that they come with a high repair cost, and their British engineering makes Minis anything but reliable. Unfortunately, Minis' cheap prices entice all sorts of buyers, many of which don't know what they have coming for them. Huge service bills, like huge. Since Minis are essentially BMWs, they carry the astronomical service cost of a high-end luxury car. Couple that with the Tri-Tech engine, which is part Chrysler, and that's why there are so many lightly used Minis marked for sale. So, while you might be tempted to pick one up for cheap, save yourself before you figure out that you made a mistake. Because, well, your six-figure bank account might look mini after owning one. Unlike a Mini, the Audi Q7 is anything but small. Sadly, it is just unreliable. The Q7 was Audi's first attempt at an SUV, and it showed. Luckily, the Q7 improved big time after its mid-cycle refresh. Enough so that Trav actually bought one for his wife, but the early first-generation models should be avoided at all costs. The Q7 came in several different trim levels with multiple engine options, but nearly all of them shared the same problems. From timing chain and tensioner issues, excessive carbon buildup causing misfires, just like my Audi R8, transmissions that left a lot to be desired, and the sunroof frames cracking which caused water leaks, the kind of water leaks that you didn't want. which would also lead to huge electrical problems. And all of that is because we touch on the diesel models, which are the most problematic of the bunch. People who paid over $50,000 for the latest and greatest from Audi weren't expecting these big bills. So many of them traded their Q7s for more reliable SUVs like Tahoes or Lexuses, or even Yugos. Lexus I? But one car that they would never trade for is a Mazda RX8. Now, guys, don't get me wrong. On paper, the RX8, it just seems like a great idea. It's not only sporty like your boy, but it's practical with 4 doors. The last suicide doors ever on a production vehicle and a usable back seat. And if you ask me, it doesn't look all that shabby either. Pair that with a spicy Dorito for an engine, and it truly looked like Mazda had a competitive RX-7 successor. But the second that you drove your RX-8 off the lot, you'd be inundated with issues. Not the issues that you'd like. If you weren't able to properly warm up your RX-8, you're gonna blow apex seals. If you don't redline your RX-8 every time that you drive it, which you should, you'll blow up your apex seals. And if you start your engine and turn it off right after, you'll, well, just most of the time flood it, but flooding it is really hard on the apex seals. The Renesys rotary made our top pick for unreliable Japanese engines in this video right up here. Go check it out. Now, the engine was so unreliable that even Mazda was, not happy with it. They had to build an entirely new factory in order to produce replacement engines, because so many of them blew up shortly after a few thousand miles. So yeah, avoid the RX-8 at all costs. Maybe it would be better to buy a commuter car. Just make sure to avoid the Nissan Ultima. I bet you think that an Ultima would be one of the most reliable cars of all time. But that's where, well, you'd be wrong. An Ultima is a simple commuter car with a dual personality. One to get you reliably from point A to point B, and the other to attack your wallet. Rawr. You see, the main problem with the Ultima is its transmission, the dreaded CVT. Continuously variable transmissions are typically terrible, but the one outfitted in the Ultima is literally one of the worst. Owners are plagued by vibrations and shudders and hesitations, but also stuck gear shifts that won't let drivers shift out of park. And then there's the fact that at best, you're getting like 80K miles out of it before it just straight up fails. While we wish that was the end of the Ultima's problems, they do not start or stop there. Ultimas also suffer from engine problems. So once they're out of warranty, I'd avoid them at all costs because they are as good as garbage. But so are Range Rovers. Sure, Range Rovers are drop dead gorgeous, but they're as crazy as an ex-girlfriend. Their interiors are fit for the king, but I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. No king would ever want to step foot in a Range Rover, as they are shockingly unreliable. Well, most of them. Although our 06 Supercharged Sport was actually, well, and it has been pretty good. From simple switches to complicated air suspensions, customers have complained about it all. Some models have issues come up within the first 10,000 miles of ownership, if not earlier. Most of the issues require them to go into the shop with long repair times. Range Rovers have gotten so bad that customers have been given loaners for the downtime, and they just end up breaking too. So, unless you just can't stand being caught rolling around in a reliable SUV like a 4Runner, and you're willing to pony up the cash to keep it on the road, just stay away from Range Rovers and look at more reliable brands like Subaru. But you know what? Even Subaru had some bad apples like the 4th gen WRX STI. Now, hold on. Before you start commenting that your older brother's college roommate brother's wife's dog has an STI that has 1 million miles, you know what I'm talking about? The truth is, they just aren't reliable. You see, a 2004 STI is powered by the 2.5-liter EJ25, pushing out 300 horsepower, which is good for a sub 5 second 0 to 60 time. The 4th generation WRX STI was made up until 2021, which is also powered by the same engine. That is 17 years, ladies and gentlemen, and the cars got slower as time goes on. But that's not the worst part. Anyone who has built a Subaru knows the problems with the EJ25. They blow their head gaskets and suffer from ringland failure, but Subaru is the one who failed because they didn't address these issues for 17 years. Dad, is that you? Subaru had so much time to fix these faults, but they didn't. Fiat was also faced with faults in their 500L, but instead of fixing the problems, like, fix it again, Tony, they just killed the car completely. We aren't the only ones saying how bad the Fiat 500L was, because Consumer Reports, if you trust them, said that the Fiat 500L was one of the least reliable cars ever. Okay, yes, I trust them. Fiat was off to a bad start when they started building this car. I mean, it was built in Yugoslavia, with the former Yugo factory being where it was built. Yeah, and if you ask me, that factory must be cursed to make just terrible cars. From harmless infotainment system faults to engines blowing up. Essentially, anything that could go wrong with the 500L, well, it did. Consumer Reports says that 20% of owners have had to perform a major unplanned service, sometimes costing them as much as the car itself. And a big number of them needed repairs before they were even sold to customers. So if you want a 500L, you'd be much better off with something like the RAV4. There's no other way of putting it other than Fiat took an L. But so did Jeep with the Patriot. If you want a cheap small SUV, you shouldn't even consider a Jeep Patriot, as it suffers from sunroof leaks to transmission failures that total the vehicles. Sure, the sunroof failures may sound simple, but these leaks commonly short important features like radio, dome light, headlights. Yeah, you heard right, the headlights. But the transmissions were even worse. You were given one of two options. An optional CVT became the bane of owners' existences. Owners are faced with repairs north of $4,000, and this manual option, it was not much better, as the synchros were always blowing. So do yourself a favor and just listen to Brad Danger and stay away from the patriotic Patriot. Another patriotic vehicle you should stay away from is the Ford F-150. Now, I know that most F-150s, well, they're stellar, even the new electric one. But the ones with the Triton 5.4 liter V8 should be avoided at all costs. These engines are the weak spots. Yes, I know they were in the Shelby GT500 from 2007 to 2012 and the Ford GT from 04 to 06. But those engines are not the same. In truck form, they suffer countless issues. For starters, spark plugs like to blow through the engine's head and out the hood. But the ignition coils, they're bad too. The timing chains wear out and stretch over time, the oil pan gasket leaks, it suffers from a camshaft phaser failure, and they sludge up, effectively just killing the engine. So you gotta be careful. These F-150s can also go through transmissions faster than a NASCAR race. Some owners report multiple replacements or rebuilds before 100,000 miles. So instead of replacing the transmission, now it might be better to just replace the entire car, just as long as it's not with a Jeep Wrangler. Wranglers are the epitome of mall crawlers. They were designed and built for serious off-roading. Even though most people, even my wife, use them as just daily drivers, but I've had a hard time recommending you buy one. Sure, they give you an off-road adventurous personality, but they aren't very fuel efficient, they're slow, they're unsafe, and they are unreliable. From steering problems like death wobble to a faulty braking system where you would push the pedal and wait as nothing happens for a split second. And finally, the brakes would kick in. But sometimes it was just too late. If you had happened to crash, they also had the fatal Takata airbag too. So next time you see that mall crawler all done up, just think about how much better off you'd be without one. But once you get into the mall, stay away from the Tesla store, no matter how cool that Model X might look. For starters, it's over $120,000. So just go buy a Gallardo, or hell, buy a Bentayga. Need I say more? People either love or hate Elon Musk, the beloved overlord of Tesla. Elon is responsible for the Model X. And that guy, he should be ashamed. I mean, the new Model X's come standard with drive system failures, suspension failures, and panel gaps that resemble the Grand Canyon. Some Model X owners have been having troubles with their drive systems and have reported their cars taking over and accelerating suddenly and violently. You're just at the mercy of this finicky tech. Don't even get us started on those Falcon doors. It's sad because Model X's have only been out for 10 years and some owners are already starting to notice rust buildup. All for the low price of $120,000, baby. Let's just all agree to pass on them, and let's not even give a second thought to an Audi Allroad. Sure, Allroads are some of the cheapest cars out there, but there is a very specific reason for that. They started at over $40,000 and today they sell for dirt cheap, or else they're just completely junked. This is because Audi, well, their engineers engineered this thing to the 10th degree. Well, that is until you need to service it. To do anything engine related, you have to take the entire front end off. This makes it very unfriendly for DIY and very expensive for repairs. Allroads are powered by the mighty 2.7 liter twin turbo motor out of the S4. And while yes, it is fast, the 2.7 liter doesn't always work. The turbos, well, they like to fail. The engine likes to leak all sorts of fluids and the transmission likes to blow. But that's not even the end of the problems. Oh no. The air suspension. Let's say it's a leaky little bugger. So stay away from these cars. Even if you may think that they are reliable for some reason, none of them are. So which one is the least ideal? I'm gonna have to say the 500L. I mean, when you build something in Yugoslavia and the Yugo plant, you're setting yourself up for failure. What's your least reliable pick? Let us know in the comments below. I'm Brad Danger. This is Ideal Media. Go check out one of our new videos up here or what YouTube recommends you watch down here. Also, if you're a car enthusiast, subscribe, like, turn on that notification bell, and promise me one thing, keep living the ideal lifestyle.